right, we are gonna end things off with some chill vibes, a fireside conversation. I want to invite everyone that's here to come up on the front row and just come hang out with us so we can get nice and cozy. Gonna chat with Matt, Miera, and Casey Waters of Strap Photo Club. If you've seen us running around with these disposable cameras, that is the Strap product. It's an amazing disposable camera, but it comes with the development and the digitization of the file. We can sync all the cameras that were here. We'll all get a download link at the end of the conference, and it's rad. They work out of the same office with us and are incredible dudes. So we're gonna chop it up and just have a fireside chat style combo. All right, ready?
Ready.
Ready to send it off. Year one, version 1.0 of the SALT Summit.
Congrats, by the way. This is really cool.
It's been a long time. We've been chatting about this for a while. Oh, lost my. Oh, there we go. For a while now, so it's an honor to share the stage with you homies and end off this first version. You guys have built a brand, a product in Strap. Let's maybe start off if you guys want to talk about how you guys kind of, maybe a little bit of the origin story of how you guys are business partners in Strap, what brought you guys together, and compelled you guys to start this consumer product, service, product, kind of creative company in Strap.
Yeah, sure. So Matt and I met probably like 2018, maybe even sooner. Yeah, 17 maybe. Yeah. I had a buddy that got drafted out here and plays for the Suns, and I was always kind of his like.
Shout out to D-Book.
Yeah, D-Book. And so I was always like his kind of like creative soundboard, and we were talking about early on. We kind of like knew where he was gonna go, and saw the writing on the wall, and I was kind of like, let's get on this content game. Let's start filming your behind the scenes, and kind of like archive it if we weren't going to do anything about it. So we kind of had our first initial meeting, and then Matt got connected through a life coach for the Suns. When he first got drafted here, it was just his kind of like liaison, and showed him around, introduced him to people, opened doors for him. I kind of jack of all trades, whatever he needed. Matt is the guy. And so we met on that first initial meeting when we were ideating content and YouTube and how we're going to navigate that whole scene. And from there, we just clicked. And just, yeah, honestly, he was always the first person I would call with business ideas. I was working on other things. He was working on other things. And yeah, it kind of like our business relationship really started when I was in New York. I used to throw these events called Off the Record, where the issue I saw, I would go to concerts and everyone's on their phone. So I started throwing these no phone concerts in 2019, and where it'd be a phone check instead of a coat check. And Matt was in that space. He was touring with Cascade, the DJ, and kind of like he understood that space, and also just his brains and being a soundboard. So from there, just problem solving, talking on the phone, and stayed close. And then about, what was it, 2021, spring of 2021. Yeah, even like a few months before, they were like, all right, we got to work on something together. Like, we started throwing things at walls, and I took a trip to Miami, and I like to shoot on film, and and I went to this film lab, and I saw a vending machine with film in it, and it didn't even work. And I was like, boom. And I met with the owner. Well, first I was like, who owns this place? Like, I need to meet them because this is the best idea I've ever seen. I meet the owner, and they're like, what do you mean? Like, this vending machine doesn't work? Like, it's out of service. And I was just like,
this isn't a business.
Yeah. I just saw the, exactly. So I left there, and I called Matt immediately, and I was like, I got the idea. The first initial ideas were music festivals and day clubs putting these vending machines of disposable cameras, kind of like a red box movie journey, if you've used those before, where I can purchase it at the festival from the vending machine, scan the QR code, run around the festival, drop it off at any time, and then 3 to 5 days later, we text and email the digital scans to you. So that was our first initial idea. He was in that space. He knew all the clubs. He knew all the music festivals. So yeah, that's kind of like how we met and how we got to where we are. And the issue we're trying to solve with Strap was just like, you shoot on film, you go, first you had to go buy the camera, then you have to bring it, or shoot it, and then you have to find a place to develop it, take it to Walgreens, wait 3 weeks, get a CD-ROM. Laptops don't even have CD-ROMs anymore, and then send it to your friends. It was just such a process that we knew we could kind of refine and create this digital back end to this like analog experience. And yeah, make it more efficient and have people have fun. There's so many people like, I have so many disposable cameras I've never got developed, and it's like, there's so many memories to be captured. So it's just revolve around that problem solving, but also the joy it is in shooting on film and not knowing what you shot and the delayed gratification and all those. We can touch on that, but cool. So that's kind of backstory how we met and the problem we're solving with Strap.
Matt, what drew you to the idea of building a brand that has meaning? I mean, you've traveled the world. You've been a part of some incredible, had access to artists, creators, people would dream to be in the rooms you've been in, the spaces you've been in, and touring the world. You decided, 10 years or 5-10 years ago to kind of move on from that and do something different and start focusing on, different aspects of your life. What role has meaningful or meaning driven in that process?
What role has?
Creating meaning or maybe not that what you did before then didn't have a meaningful impact, but realigning. I know, realigning time with family, time with your kids as they're growing up, with your wife and friends, and being in a place where you're not traveling night after night. What were the elements? It doesn't have to be meaning, but what were the elements that really drove you to make that shift that have also led you on this path to creating Strap?
Yeah, I think starting with family and starting with traveling, being on the road 200 days a year, away from your family, away from your kids and your wife, and just leaving it up to her to hold it down, which it's all she's ever known. So since I've known her, I've been on the road. So when we met, that was her normal, and she wanted to go along for the ride. So she's stuck with me and been through that whole thing with me. And the wear and tear on not only the family, but it's touring is grueling. It's not an easy job by any means, right? There's a lot that goes into it. It's a lot of work. You're never off.
Yeah.
And that's probably my worst habit to this day, is I never am off. And Casey will tell you, I will respond to his. I'll respond to him instantly,
Yeah.
And it's not good. It's not a good trait. But when I left, Cascade was my last artist in the music industry.
Yeah.
So we did New Year's Eve 2019 into 2020, and that was my last show with him. And then COVID happened in March, or somewhere in there. And it was my favorite time of life. All the travel, all the experiences, all the things that I've been able to see. And my favorite thing that I've ever done was riding my bikes with my wife and kids.
That's awesome.
Every day.
Yeah.
we didn't have anything else to do. I mean, it was great. It was my favorite thing. And I've never had a job that's allowed for a routine ever. So starting to build a routine I saw was something that, man, I've been missing out. This is really cool to be able to wake up at the same time every morning and do the same thing every day. It's, as some people would say, oh, but you get a tour and see the world. Yeah, it's all great, but plain sleep is it's not the best sleep, right?
Yeah.
So,
especially when you're giants like us.
yeah. So, you know, I always have side projects. Always have. I think I always will.
That's how. Well, no, we met in other ways, but really connected over.
Yeah, the hat company. Yeah. So, with Strap, I mean, Casey and I we knew something was going to happen. We didn't know what it was or when it was going to happen, but it wasn't something we had to force. It wasn't something that we had to, you know, we didn't meet every week and talk about, well, what can we start? He called, he said, I have the idea, and I'm like, that's the idea, that's it. And we built Strap in a really short period of time, and Casey and I are both kind of perfectionist a little bit, and we had a hard time going to market, like, well, what about this, and what about this? And finally we're just like, let's just do it, and we'll fix it as it goes, right?
Yeah.
So Strap was a no-brainer. One, because we share a passion for film. Two, because we've always wanted to work together. But then three, you bring in Casey's past and me kind of consulting on his project in New York. Casey's always built things. I mean, he's 26, 27.
Just a young
He's
buck.
built some amazing products, and I would love for you all to hear about all of them. But they all, in some way, shape, or form, bring people together, or focus on being in the moment, or really, I mean, it's really about moments with all these things that he's done. And that the concept of a backyard party, which who has a backyard in New York, right? Nobody.
Yeah.
But they had this place that had a backyard that would hold 70-ish people. And that concept of, I'm taking your phone at the door, right? And you're gonna go and you're gonna enjoy this moment whether you like it or not. So now the artist who's playing, right, is a live musician, one of them who's actually getting really big right now. But now you're talking to your friends, and sure, you have that, like watching people like, whoa, where's my phone? You know, it's like that twitch,
That phantom vibration.
Yeah, like what?
Yeah.
But once that wears off,
Yeah.
you get to really experience the artist, and you get to really experience the people you went with, and that's what
For sure.
Strap is, and that's why Strap is so exciting. Like, sure, it's film. We love film. It's and it was built for festivals. You know, essentially, kind of that was the first idea, and we love music. We share that in common. But now, my number one favorite thing about Strap is I go everywhere with a strap, and I don't take my phone out. And
that's awesome.
I will take a photo of where I've been in rooms with the top of the top, and I will never, ever in my life ask for a selfie with a camera, with a cell phone, or take a picture with a cell phone. I just won't do it. It's not something that. Do I wish I?
It's almost taboo in some.
Yeah, like
rooms,
I'm not there to
right?
take photos of you, right? But if I have it doesn't matter who you are.
No doubt.
Like I will take a photo of you on this because they understand in their head. It's like that can't go straight to the internet. That's got to go. That's got a long ways to go.
Yep.
Right.
Yeah.
So
They don't know your process. They don't know how quick that can be turned around.
But little do they know, because I took some photos. I was in Dallas last night and I had a camera, and I sent out photos this morning, and people are like, "Wait, hold on. I thought this was film." I'm like, "Oh, it is film." So I was sending all the photos. So, but yeah, so we'll get those done quickly. But yeah, so I think that's kind of in a nutshell. I think I answered your question, maybe.
No, you for sure. Yeah. Casey, Matt touched on this idea of like these moments, these experiences that you've created. Your tagline for Strap is "Moments Matter."
Shout out you.
That's right. We developed that together, dude. What is it about moments? What is it about like slowing down? Most people your age, not that you're that much younger than me, but there's definitely even more with social media and content, we are being detached more and more from the moment we're experiencing. This moment here, that's why I wanted to get everyone in close for this, final push. This is like, this is a moment that matters. This is a moment in time. This is the tail end of this conference. This is this conversation we're having, and it's easy because we're all also instantly connected at any moment's notice to everyone in the world at this very moment. What is it about the way you think and the process you have that has inspired you to think about how important a moment is?
It's a great question. I think from being out of the moment, honestly, like I think being so in my phone, being so distracted, almost caused me to learn about living in the moment and being present and trying to like be mindful of those things. So I guess being hyper aware of like my screen time and like I'm not even being present with the person I'm at dinner with because I'm on my phone, or you know what I mean? All these things that it's stem from a personal issue. You know what I mean? It was like, and I think if you can solve your own issues, there's probably other people out there that also resonate with those and can relate to those. So I think it took me crazy high screen time, not being present, being in places it takes time to learn what matters, but like missing on certain family things that like in hindsight I wish I was present for, but thought something else was more important, you know what I mean? So I think it took like getting off the path to realize like how important the path is. And I think that's maybe like the ebbs and flows of life in a sense, where like it pendulums and goes back and forth. But I think that, and then finally like removing the things or like starting to learn the process of being present through different practices or less screen time, whatever that is, I realized how powerful it was for me and how much I enjoyed that. And then I was like, okay, how can I replicate this for other people? So that was, okay, let's just create a phone-free experience because this has helped me. And it's for me in a sense. Like I want an hour and a half of music with no phone. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, so there's probably other people out there that also want that. So totally. I think to answer your question highly, it's like me not being present, me not cherishing the moments that really matter, and now getting back on that path and trying to be aware of that. Like, what are these things that are like getting in that way, and how can I create maybe businesses, products, services, videos around that to like bring people back? Because in the end, like really, that's all we have from a moment to moment standpoint. So yeah, and it's tough, and it goes back on the ebbs and flows. I mean, it's meditation, kind of 101, but like I'm on this train of thought. Let's get back to like baseline. Yeah. So I think the more we can do that and help each other be there. But yeah, I think my products and services are kind of what I try to teach is just stem from me not being present. So like I'm trying to like just share that knowledge that I learned that helps me, and maybe sell products or host events or services that also do that.
Totally. How do you think other businesses, with AI, with the acceleration of technology and information and all the distractions that we have, how do you think other businesses can take a page from your notebook of maybe going against that? You're still a technology platform. I mean, you have your own back end, you have this ability to develop through a manual process, but then deliver. I mean, there's 20 plus cameras here that can all be synced together. So there's technology that's driving this very analog experience. How do you balance kind of the analog and the digital, and how do you think other businesses or brands could think about those intangibles or those moments or the things that we're both pushing for acceleration in AI and technology, but where can we pull back on levers that really make a meaningful impact?
Yeah, that's a great question. And it's funny because like less screen time's bad for a lot of businesses. You know what I mean? It's like it's
bad for our core primary value.
Literally, almost everyone's, So it's like, in essence, you're almost going backwards and almost against, like, if you want to go the ROI game, like this might have a negative return, but you're getting people that now are more advocates for your brand in a sense. So I think it's hard to walk that balance of like, what can we do as a business that's, allowing people to be more present, but I think it's just tools in like community or like hosting events. But yeah, it's actually very, I don't know yet, it's like, it's a hard thing to tussle with, because it's like I said, a lot of businesses are screen time get you like get you hooked.
Yeah.
Watch this, consume this, learn more about this.
Totally.
Where it's, I mean, we started posting on our socials on Friday where it's like, hey, we're off. You know what I mean? We're not responding to DMs. We're not responding to emails for the weekend. And like, yeah.
I think that's something that business.
Yeah, I guess.
That's small, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, you're following me for a reason. I'm telling you this is what we're doing, and you should join us. Simple,
Yeah.
Right?
And
You get to decide.
And I think it
Yeah.
also, people respect your time then more, you know? So it's like, hey, like you have an out of office, like, hey, I have a rule, I don't respond to emails on the weekends. And now it's like, oh, wow. Now when you respond, I know your time is valuable because you're not available all the time. And also you cherish other things outside of what is work. And I think
Yeah.
me and him are always on. And we're saying things that we struggle with that like has helped us because it's like, oh, wow, like this is such a relief. Like we don't have to respond to DMs. Like we don't have to post a post today,
Totally.
like for the weekend. So I think that's maybe like a tangible thing where it's like, hey, I'm actually like not available right now. I'm living in the moment.
Yeah.
I'm hanging out with friends, family. I'm riding bikes down the street with my kids, you know? And I think that's
Yeah.
maybe something where now like, oh, I actually respect what you're, respect your time, but also kind of like love what you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Your time's valuable. And so maybe that's a thing that's like pretty, you can implement pretty
Yeah.
easily that we just started to implement and has been good feedback. And also we love it. It's we can disconnect and like gives us that separation of and it kind of touches on too, like you're always on your phone, there's always something you can do. So I sometimes need that mental like block, like I'm not even,
sure.
so I'll throw my phone in a drawer. Like he knows when I go on trips, I'll be like, I'm off the grid.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
And I'll literally go and I'll put my phone in a drawer for
Yeah.
3 days because I need that like
Yeah.
black and white separation because it gets so gray now where your computer's in your pocket and you're always available. So I think, to answer,
No, that's great. It's funny. I actually just was posting about the after event, and the city of Mesa. I tagged them, and they have a automated message that says we're closed from these times. And my initial reaction was like, freaking city of Mesa, of course. But at the same time, that it's like what you're saying is so important to like know that you can set those boundaries. Like, yes, we can all be online, we can all have social at all times, but being able to set those boundaries and set those parameters, like you get to decide as brand owners when and where you show up. You don't have to, allow your audience, your customers to dictate those times. You can set those parameters, and I think that's a powerful thing to think about as we're promoting content and production and doing all these things. But you can also be very selective in how you want to do it and how you want to show up.
It's something that I've said a few times, but disconnect to reconnect, and that's kind of what I've coined what Casey does. Because when he goes on trips, I don't hear from him, and that's okay because I know that. I know why. I know the why. I know what he's doing and why he's doing it, and it's okay. Like if something's urgent, I can get a hold of him if I really needed to.
Hit that payphone.
Just enjoy it. The pager.
The pager, yeah. No doubt. There's actually funny stories of, I guess Bill Murray doesn't have a phone, and like people it's a payphone. And like to get in touch with me, you have to call this like 1-800 number, and it just like will ring until he picks up. And it's just this whole, it's like myth and story. You never know with Bill Murray. That dude's a legend, but sounds true. It does. Matt, you've been on these tours and been in incredible rooms and environments and experiences. What do you think businesses or brands like Strap or others can take from live music, live events? Like, what is it that's different about all the artists you've worked with? Have an entire library on Spotify. Why do they tour? I can go listen to any Cascade track right now. What is it about the experience that's created in a live event, or what are the best shows or best events that you've been a part of? What is it about that experience that set it apart?
I mean, touring is the artist's product, right? That's at the end of the day, you can listen to their music, and that music's very impactful for a lot of people. And I've heard that over and over and over again through touring, right?
Yeah.
You've changed my life. You've done this for me. You've done that for me. Your music got me through my hardest times. Those interactions don't happen if it's not live. It's not in person. It's not. So for an artist to have a massive catalog and not tour it's like us building Strap and never launching in a way.
Totally.
Because sure, you can listen to the music and so on and so forth, but that live connection, I mean, Cascade, when I was with him, was 2013, 2012 through 2019. He was connecting with a different audience then than he is now. Those people, it's not the same audience. It's you know, people who are going to the festivals, they kind of trend in that same age group.
Yeah.
So when I was with him, those people have kind of moved on. Do they still like Cascade? Sure, I'm sure of it.
Yeah.
But now he's talking to a new audience, and without that live festival experience or show experience, he doesn't grow that audience. It stays stagnant. So I think that's, does that answer the question? I think
how can you apply that to a brand? How do you think about that with Strap, for example?
Yeah, I mean, with Strap, it's taking take our product to your live experience, whatever that is, whether it is concerts are ideal, because those are the moments. I mean, you're paying, Drake was just $800 to $1,000 a ticket. If you're paying that much money, stay off your phone and really enjoy what you're doing there. Like,
totally.
Like, by all means, like, film it, but how often do you watch that video back? Do you ever?
Yeah.
I mean, when you take a photo with friends and you have to take it 50 times, and how often do you actually go through all those photos? You find the best one, you post it, and then you forget about those, and they just live in your camera roll forever.
Yeah.
Strap breaks that habit. It's like, we're gonna take a photo. If we get it, we get it. We don't know, but we're gonna move on to the next, and we're gonna take more of these photos. And to this day, I just got that link back. I landed and ran to the office, dropped a camera. Casey he was already developing.
Yeah.
And I was like, send us, if you get it to me today, great.
Yeah.
And I'm changing and whatever, and I get the link. And every time I get that link, it's Christmas Day.
It is.
Because you just want to see it. I mean, it was last night, and I know I can name all the photos.
Totally.
But I mean, our family went to Michigan this summer on vacation, and we took 10 cameras, and over an extended period of time, you don't remember what's on those cameras. But first thing, landed, dropped off the family, went to the office and turned on the machines and just started developing. And I called my wife halfway through and just like, these are the best memories. Like,
so good.
It's really special. So I think that's, Strap, and whatever it is, if it's live music, if it's any kind of event, I think Strap applies. Try it. Not because I'm trying to sell you on something, but try it. Whether it's a disposable or not, just leave your phone in the car and see how that experience is different.
No
so, and listen, I don't know if I may never answer your questions, Sean, ever.
You're doing great, dude. You're killing it.
But I think that's do you have a good explanation?
I don't know if it's an explanation, but like I'm super bullish on in-person events. I think COVID switched a lot, and everyone's so isolated. And I think there's a very bad phone epidemic, but I also think it's a very bad isolation epidemic.
Yeah.
And I think the people that can bring back in-person community are gonna win, because people want belonging. People want a way to meet new people. People my age, and I'm not that much younger, but like and younger, like they don't even know how to meet people physically and like have conversations. So like, I'm really bullish on the people that can build that in-person community, if that is your storefront or hosting events at places like these and meeting other people. I think my generation and younger, I think COVID changed a lot. And I think to answer your question, like music and bringing people together, like I think people get that like ecstasy and that high because there's so many people listening to the same thing at the same time, and you feel that connection that should be more prevalent, and you should get that way more. But I think that's a draw. What brings me to music, and he loves music too, but it's that community that it brings over this like enjoyed interest, common interest. And I think the people that can like figure out those interests and then formulate the events and bring those people that have like-minded interests together are going to win from in a brand or like a business standpoint.
Yeah. What?
I just pictured Will jumping up and down at the Killers.
Yeah, dude. No doubt. What part of the strap experience is intentional? You have this camera. My son Max was here earlier. He literally thinks this is the black and white one. It's his camera. Like this thing, when I roll up, it's his camera. It's like he finds it in the office. He finds it in my bag, or I bring him one, and it's like, oh, my camera. Like, why'd you take my camera to the office? Like, this is a new one. But what part of the design, you created incredible custom, strap cameras in like I don't know, I think you guys pulled it off in like 12 hours. We sent you the artwork. What part of, and your boxes, the packaging, we get every day, we get 10 to 12 cameras showing up at the office front door. What part of that process, Matt talked about you guys being perfectionists in certain things, and that held you back from launching, but as you hone in this strap brand experience, like what things are you intentionally trying to create in the brand experience?
Yeah. Vaguely everything, but like I think
All of it? Yeah.
all of it from like A to Z. The whole, how can we first off eliminate any hurdle that you may have? And I think running your own business, it takes a lot of empathy. Like how can I put myself in the customer's shoes and think of issues that they have arise, but also ones that they might not have even thought of. So I think that standpoint is like almost like stage one. It was like eliminate all hurdles. I mean, we're selling convenience. Obviously, we're selling memories, but we're also selling convenience and making this traditionally hassle process more seamless. So like, okay, we're selling convenience. We got to make it the most convenient way possible to shoot on film. And then two, it's okay. We checked that one. Stage two now is like, how do we enhance that experience? Now it's, you scan the QR code and this 3D camera spins and confetti falls and the messaging in the text, and you know what I mean? Just like we did stage one, and there's still things we're going back to, like, oh, we can refine this and make it better. But then that stage two is like, okay, now how can we, like, whoa, this experience was so good that and I always said to Matt, it's like, I feel like if you build the product so good, you almost don't need to market, because other people enjoy it, they're going to rebuy, and then they're also going to tell their friends about it because they had such a good experience that they're going to provide value to their friends. So they almost do the networking and the marketing for you. So I think, to answer your question, everything, and like we try to think of every little detail that the customer might interact with, and how can we solve all their issues and even make it more convenient. Like, I didn't even know this was possible. I mean, one was like the QR code. We built it like how Amazon, where I can just go to USPS and like I don't even have to print the label anymore. Like, we gave you the box and now you just scan the QR code, they'll print it for you, already paid, and boom. So it's like stuff like that where it's like you eliminate it, but then I also didn't even know this feature was possible. So then how can you go above and beyond to like create that elevated experience? So everything, empathy and be in your customer's shoes and try to solve all the issues that they can.
I love that.
One thing I will say is, never assume that your customer knows how it works. We're in it day to day, so we're just like,
No doubt.
everybody gets this, right? This, no problem. It's not, right? You still have to tell people like they're in third grade how this works, because you'll lose them. You know, it's like, why would I buy a $55 camera?
Yeah.
Does what else happens, right? Is it magical? What happens? So you have to always, I think, that's something that brands can look at and really just, are you telling the full story, or do you just think you're telling the full story? So I think it's like looking at your brand from the outside in, and just making sure that you are clear and at those things, because I do feel like, you know, we assumed for a long time that just people knew how it worked.
Yeah, just scan the QR code and you do it.
It's so easy. If there's a QR code, you're gonna scan it.
Yeah.
Right? So, I think that's something. That's one point. And you know, everything's improved from day one. We started off with a product. It was good. It worked, and that was what we were after. And then it was just more development. How can we make it better? How can we make it prettier? How do we make it? I mean, our emails were terrible at one point. I mean, it was like, you know, when you register yourself, you get an email, hey, you're registered, and they were just so bad and they didn't look good. So that was another step. So it's just a constant. I mean, our boxes, you know, they're beautiful. There's a few things that we need to change. It's one thing after another, and then you just go back to the front and start over again.
No doubt.
yeah, I think. Go ahead. Yeah.
Have you guys broke into the wedding venue? My sister caters, and I've seen cameras when I've helped her on some tables. It seems like
Yeah, that's actually our.
great for wedding planners to because unposed shots are great.
Yeah, that's actually our number one market. I guess we didn't talk about the progression, but we started with the vending machines at music festivals, and quickly people were like weddings. I don't know if we were naive. I guess I didn't go to many weddings. I'm not married. Yeah, I don't know. So I didn't know the dynamic of disposable cameras and weddings. It's huge. So we quickly from there started ideating and refining what we call our party packs. And that's the boxes you see out there, but solving the issue of where can I buy in bulk? Where do I get these developed? So basically how it works is it's a double adhesive mailer. We mail it to the wedding party, bride, groom, wedding planner. They put it on the tables. They scan the QR code, register. They put it back in the same box, reseal it, and then there's already prepaid shipping label in there. And you can just drop off at USPS. So yeah, to answer your question, we quickly moved into the wedding market, and that's honestly our main. It works in a lot of other places, but having a small team and limited resources, it's all these are sticky, but what's the stickiest? And that's just stay laser focused there. And we're dabbling in some other things now, but yeah, we focus a lot of time on building that party packs with just weddings in mind. But yeah, I guess what I was gonna say too is we like to think of this flywheel effect of ideation, execution, and then iteration kind of.
Yeah.
And it's you can't make hits if you don't take swings. So our emails were terrible, but just put it out there. And now it's okay, how can we we ideated it, we executed it. Now how do we iterate? And it's this flywheel effect that's helped us from answering your question of what's intentional too, where it's okay, let's ship it fast because we're perfectionists, but then you also might spend a lot of time building a product or service or feature that your customers actually don't really want. So it's okay, what's maybe the MVP that we can ship in the quickest, cheapest way possible to receive feedback and having that empathy and ear to your customers of okay, what do they actually want out of this? What are they saying? What's the feedback? Yeah.
Let's wrap things up with someone who's just starting, or maybe they're rebranding or trying to launch a new product. How can they think about creating a meaningful experience as part of their brand, business, company?
I guess, what issue are you trying to solve? And how can you broadcast that in the best way? Because I feel like we solve the issue of inconvenient film, and that's really at the core. We make it more convenient, but then we're selling it as these are memories and live off your phone. Mm-hmm. So I think it's okay, what's your core? I guess I'm struggling with this question, to be honest, but
it's all good.
Yeah, what's your issue and what's your problem, and then also outside of that morally, what do we stand for?
So maybe another way of asking it is how do you create that empathy? How do you get into the mindset of thinking about your customer to create something that's meaningful for them? Do you have a process you go into when you're thinking about weddings or event venues or things how do you connect empathy with really understanding what your customer might want?
Talk to them. We're working on building out an affiliate program for wedding photographers and wedding planners, and it's the first thing I'm doing is my sister just got married. Who's a photographer? Let me talk to her. Set up a meeting with Monday. I want to build this affiliate program for you.
Yeah.
I don't know. I've never done it before. You know what I mean? It's kind of you tell me what you want out of it.
Totally.
What would make you happy, and then let's go build that thing for you. So I think, just who are you building it for, and just go talk to them, get in front of them in many ways as you can, and really listen to their problems. And they talked about it with the networking. You know what I mean? It's that kind of way of have an ear and just listen and provide a space for them to talk and spill. And they're okay, let's go. You know what I mean? We can go. So I think, getting in front of the people you're trying to solve the issue for, you're building that feature for or product for. Get as much feedback as you can, and then you go to the drawing board. Okay, what's the quickest, cheapest? It doesn't have to be cheapest, but what's the MVP product that we can then in 2 weeks, here it is. Play with it. Okay, now how do you change? So I think ear to the streets and talk to the people that you're really selling to or solving their issue.
Love it, Matt.
What was the question?
what are ways that you connect with your customers and create that empathy to understand them, or create an experience within the company?
Yeah, I mean, I think, do we ever have this intention of starting a company or brand or creating a product without a customer in mind? I think is
maybe even if you don't have access, how do you get in that headspace?
Yeah, and I mean, I think everything's built for a reason. I think we always have an assumption of who our customer is going to be, and it's not always spot on, and oftentimes it's totally wrong. But I think feedback is your best bet, and that's through putting out a product, through surveys, through just it's as much feedback as possible. I mean, we don't hand out cameras. It's like, you know what I mean? That's an expense. So how do you get that feedback that you really need and want to move the needle for your brand? I think it's, it's just communication. It's just talking. It's asking the question, hey, if I had this product, what would you do with it, or how would you use it? And it's asking, like he said, wedding photographers, wedding planners. It's influencers. How can we build you something that you'll actually use and be motivated to use and be happy to use and excited to use? Is that money? Is that camera subscription? Like, what would move the needle for you, and how can we build that for you? So I think that there's a lot of customization in whatever the product is that you're building, really understanding what do they need, what does your customer want, and how can you go get that information from them is I think most valuable.
Love it. Yeah.
I think a cheat code, if you're just about to launch, is actually solve a personal problem, because then you're the customer that you're building for.
No doubt.
And I think a lot of powerful brands are very founder story pushed, I guess. I think of the cookie company that, it's just like, hey, I've had these issues ABC, and I couldn't find the solve for ABC, so I built this business to solve those issues, because now you're just building for your own personal problems. Totally. And then it's just like, if other people relate to it, they relate to it. But I think that's something, and I think of all the things that I've started, it's actually something that I had an issue with, or I saw an inconvenience in, and there wasn't anything in the market to do, so I just built what I would want first off, and then that at least got me to the MVP to put out there. And now it's like, okay, what's the feedback? How can I refine it? And now I'm talking to wedding planners, which isn't what I do, but solving my own issue got me to this point now where I can now fill the masses. But it ignited, and also I think it takes a lot of work to go from 0 to 1. It's so hard to take something in your head and make it tangible. Yeah. So it doesn't have to be, but almost I encourage it to be a personal issue, because that's kind of what gives you that extra gas in the tank to be I really, really care about this, and I want to solve this issue for me because of the inconvenience it's been in my life and the hurdle it is for me. So I think that's also a cheat code, is just solve your own issues, and then the next is scale it. But
I love that. Yeah, listening to your own intuition and challenges is such a good insight. Did you have something to say? I want to open it up. We're already way past time, but what the hell? Any questions for Matt, Casey, on their process, on Strap, on anything?
So this event here, we've got 2 boxes of cameras. I scan the code. Is that camera only going to come to me, or are we all going to be able to get the pictures from this event?
You'll all get the pictures from the event.
So careful what photos you take.
So with your connections of your past life with Strap, have you ever thought about having these non-cell phone private parties and then giving them to Drake or Deep Booker and being like, hey, you control every picture that's ever taken tonight, and then you can email them out as directed? Is that some marketing thing that you've done?
Yeah, we play with the idea all the time.
It's gonna happen.
It'll happen.
The next Salt Summit, we're throwing that after part, that Strap after party.
And it works. a lot of these high-profile people don't want phones in the room. So it's a whole nother offering. Is hey,
And in some of those rooms, and when people are like, "Oh, let me take a selfie," what that translates to them is, let me write your coattails.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Let me try and get famous on your.
Let me post this picture of us
Yeah.
ASAP so people know I'm here.
Seems
Yeah,
really greedy, but it seems like that is a really good sales point of like, hey, you can control every photo at your event. You can document it how you want. And
Yeah.
You can have the rights to them.
Yep.
Here you go.
yeah. And then you can share them if you want with your.
And you can share. Yeah.
And you can be you too, because I think a lot
Yeah.
of those people,
Yeah.
they like there's in public they're super reserved and like they kind of have to be. But if you can like create that environment for them to be themselves and not have to worry about
Yeah.
that, kind of I feel like Studio 54 back. I mean, it's like how can we create these like
And thanks for the selfie tip. That was good. We like that.
Yeah.
We like that.
I like that.
I was like, we kind of indirectly do that through Strap because it's so common we have a strap on. It's like, oh, we'll take a photo, and it's like, can I get your number if I send you the photo? So it's like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or follow us on Instagram. We'll shoot you. We'll DM it to you. So yeah.
And with the badging, it's like keep that little lanyard in there, so it's never left.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I have a question about, I want to be a regular user, right? I just need a subscription. Say you get 3 of these a month, just all black. I can shoot them when I want, I can ship them back every month, I give another 3. Like that's how I would use this.
Yeah.
Is that around something that you've
Yeah.
developed? Is that-
Subscriptions are available.
They're available?
Definitely.
So just go to your site.
Yeah. Strap Photo Club.
Yeah, if they work 5 minutes ago, they are now.
Yeah.
And you can get that insider custom all black. Great.
Yeah.
We can talk.
use code Sean, you're good.
Can I just ask, like, what's the timeline? I mean, 2020, right? You guys.
20
2021.
We're coming up on
March.
2 years in like a week or
Yeah.
2 weeks.
We're almost hitting 2 years.
Product hit when you launched.
September of 21 is when we launched.
Yeah,
We
I
probably
think
started talking about it in March of
March
21.
or April, yeah, late March, early April of 2021. So it was like, what is that, 6 months, I think. Luckily, I've built some things in the past that fly, I mean, but I kind of use it. We had a podcast, it'll probably come out shortly, but I like to talk about like almost like building a transformer. Like through my past business ventures, I learned how to build this leg very well and this hand, and now it's like, and I think any venture moving forward, it's like I've actually learned how to ride the bike already. The bike just is styled a little bit different and goes a little bit different places, or solves a little bit different issues. So
Yeah.
we were able to just like go, and we try to make, and he touched on it, we try to make it like stop being perfectionists, like let's just get it out in the world and get feedback and iterate. And I think it was tough for both of us.
Launched at a festival, or what was that?
We did a festival called Gold Rush here in Phoenix. It was in Chandler at the time. We launched there, and it was awesome. I mean, and part of it was like, let's get this thing out there before somebody else is doing it. Like we don't know who's thinking what or who's building what, so we were just really excited to get it out there, and it was. We learned a lot from that first event.
Yeah.
For this past Mother's Day, I bought my wife like this antique Super 8, and that was some of the best videos that we have ever created. Have you guys ever thought about a video version of this?
Yeah, see, yeah, I literally just had my sister's wedding on Super 8. I love Super 8.
I feel like you're gonna break it when you
Yeah. So the issue for us is like, and there's a lot of, I mean, if you know David Dobrik, he created Dispo, a digital version of disposables basically, and all these people are coming around and like trying to make a digital version of analog, and we always go back to like, it's not film, like it's still not real film, and the issue with Super 8 is the startup cost. Like, to develop that, it's expensive, it's an expensive hobby, but like to get the equipment to actually develop and scan Super 8 or like 16 millimeter film is super expensive. So
It's pricey, but yeah, I mean, we've played with a lot of different ideas and concepts. I mean, if you sat in our office for a day, you'd see.
So you talked a little bit about technology and how it's kind of taken over and phones and whatnot. Do you ever just do prints only and not scans?
So it's funny, we don't even do prints, which is kind of our.
So me being the old guy in the beginning, I said we have to launch with prints. So we did. We had the ability to pick and choose your photos and go get those printed. I think our first 1,000 cameras sold, we had 0 orders for prints, so we just kind of turned it off. However,
Yeah, we'll have that very soon. I think what the difference was the party packs and the weddings, and a lot of the bride and grooms actually wanting the fit. And people ask, and it just, like I said, I touched on it too, having limited resources and like where should we invest our money. That was on the list, but we had to move some things above that to get to the point we are now. We're like, okay, now we can actually go invest in that in the machinery to actually print. So, and I love the physical. I'm excited to bring it back, and I'm excited for the bride and grooms and whoever orders to actually get the physical like print. I actually had
Heard it here first.
yeah, you heard it here first. And I actually had a idea, talk about the idea. I had a wild idea. I texted him the other weekend, but it's like almost bringing like Instagram, like almost you follow people. The idea is you follow people and you subscribe, but then like your camera that month subscription, your photo prints would go to your family or whoever subscribed to your subscription. So they would pay $3.99 a month per follow. And now, like, instead of following on a digital screen, all your 27 prints go to your parents, your siblings, yeah, as a postcard, basically. So, yeah, so it's almost like you follow people, but it's actually like physical photos. But yeah, I think that's a huge part, and we're excited to roll that out shortly.
So it's not so much about your company, but just with your experience of who you've been around and whatnot. I'm trying to build a sales team, and it's a lot of college-age students, and it's very fan-based, right? It's post your clout, it's build up this stuff. So taking that selfie with the book or this or that, it's like, wow, look at that. I come to these meetings, I meet fantastic people. I'm horrible at taking pictures, and that's one thing I say I need to do better at. But then I come here and I'm like, no, actually I don't. What is your recommendation for somebody in my shoes of like trying to build that Instagram and get that following from people who like that type of stuff, but yet that's not really my natural, and that's not what those guys want either.
what are you building it for? What's the concept?
I do summer sales, and so I just want to create content on Instagram that will get followers with the college age, and I don't really.
And you want that
I don't
content?
want my brand.
Yeah. That content will in turn make people want to work for the company. Is that kind of the goal?
Yeah, work on my team to go and sell
Yeah.
my company.
Yeah. I'm going to be honest with you, and this is not a sales pitch, but carrying around a strap camera, like I said, I'll pull that camera out in front of anybody because they know it's not going instantly to the internet. So there could be something there where I always feel very awkward pulling out my phone to take pictures of anybody. It's like even my kids don't like it when I have my phone pointed at them. So the strap camera is a good entry point to, one, meet that person. Like, hey, I have this photo, I'd love to share it with you. Scan the QR code and it'll share with you. Or, let me get your contact information, or follow me on Instagram and I'll DM it to you when it gets developed. Because now they're gonna look forward to it. They're gonna say, wait, has he sent it? Has he sent it? Has he sent it? We get emails all the time. Are my photos done? When are my photos done? Did you get my camera? I'm nervous. Did it get lost in the mail, right? Because people are excited to see these photos. I think there's something there. I mean, film is such a popular thing right now. The look and the feel of it is very different. Looks like a filter, not a filter. It's just what film is. So maybe there's something there that can entice those college-age kids who want this product, right? They want film photography. They want the look of it. So maybe some posts can look like that, and that can be the photo that you're taking of the selfie with whoever, or the picture with whoever, and it can, you hand someone the camera and say, take our photo and post that, right? Like, I don't know. That's just an idea. Casey probably has some more ideas there, but
I guess I have more questions. Like, what's your end? So your end goal is to get college students to work for you by posting with influential people on Instagram, correct? Am I hearing this correctly?
Yeah, that's one of the ways. There's several ways I'm going to reach out to these students, but one of the most impactful ways is everybody's on their phone and always on Instagram.
Yeah.
Tap into that market.
Yeah.
And I feel like the successes I've seen is by people posting things that they like, and so they love sports.
Yeah.
If I posted a picture of Devin Booker, they're like, look at this guy.
Yeah.
This guy got him over there with him.
Yeah. I'd almost challenge you to like express you. You know what I mean? I think like that's more like outside validation. I think to get people to come work for you, they want to know who you are. You know what I mean? They don't. yeah, cool, you're in the room with Devin Booker, but like they want to know what you like, what your interests, what your passions are. Like yeah, to express.
How do you handle that when, like, I'm a dad of 3 kids and I'm trying to hire college students, so my interests don't really align with theirs. That's the.
Or is that like a story you're just telling yourself?
Yeah, I mean,
You know,
right.
like that just might be the like.
Do they want to go work for a college student? Probably not. They want to work for a.
Dad at some point.
Yeah.
3 kids.
Yeah, they're looking to work for somebody who's experienced and been through it and had already done all the things, made all the mistakes. Now you're raising children.
Yeah.
Obviously, you're responsible. You're doing, you're doing these things. So, to me, I think that's a great point. Like they want to work for you because
Who you are.
you're a success
Yeah.
in what you're doing, and
your knowledge.
they're not. Yeah, because you have a photo with so and so doesn't mean they're going to come
work for you.
work for you. You know,
Right,
it just
yeah.
shows that you were there and.
And I feel like me as a college kid, like I want to go work for someone that's been through it and be a sponge. And like you want the people that want more for them. You know what I mean? So like almost like spill your knowledge. And now it's like, oh, he's smart. Like, yeah, I'm going to be there for a short time. I mean, sales has a quick turnover anyway, but it's like I want to go in there, take everything I can, learn, and like, yeah, just share your knowledge, share what you know. But yeah.
I think that's extremely valuable insight. Yeah, do
Yeah.
yourself, and you'll attract those people. They're getting enough of the party life in college or whatever that like something with stability, with realness, with authenticity is going to go a long way. And you want to attract the people that you want to attract. So doing it in that way, yeah, maybe you don't get the kids that only would go sell for someone. Those are going to show up and they're going to be the worst kids out there during the summer. That you're going to be partying every night and you're going to be babysitting. So, you think about the ripple effect of what you're putting out versus who you're trying to attract.
And then how do you innovate? How do you do something different than what every other summer sales people are doing? How do you make it fun? How do you gamify it? How do you know what I mean? I think there's a lot of things to look at there. I mean, we get these salespeople at our door all the time. It's what can you do differently and really like start trends that nobody else is doing that's going to make these kids want to come and work for you,
Yeah.
Thank you guys. Thanks for
Get up for Sean, honestly. Let's go. Legend. Let's go.
get a selfie.